in listen-only mode.
Hello, everybody. It's Brian Offenberger. I'm with Right On Noble Marketing, as well as our sister companies, Security Selling and Aftermarketer Club. And I want to invite you or welcome you to today's webinar, where we're going to talk about how you can increase your sales with email and newsletters. I'm really glad you could take time out of your schedule with us today. I'm going to get right to the material that we have to cover because I have lots of good stuff I'm going to share with you. I want to let you know that during the course of our meeting, if you have any questions, there's a little chat window. Please feel free, type your question into the chat window. We're monitoring it during the course of today's webinar. We want to make sure that we answer the questions you have. We want to make sure that we give you the information you need in order to be successful and to gain what you want out of today's session. Yes, we will be recording this session. For the first time, we actually may have people trying to get on that can't attend. We maxed out in registrations for today's session. We will be recording it. Provided that technology works and that we don't have any glitches, we'll have it on our blogs tomorrow. I'll let you know more of the details as we go along. I had the opportunity to get involved with email marketing way back in 2004, which seems like a long, long time ago. I went to some classes that were put on through the eMarketing Association to learn what email was all about. You know, email's kind of like sex is to an 18-year-old. They have an idea what it is, but we're not really sure what to do with it. And email marketing is a lot that way. Since 2004, I've had the good fortune of helping companies that are mailing millions of customers, emailing millions of customers many times a month, to those that are small businesses that are just getting started with 0 people in an email marketing list. And we've had the good fortune since 2004 to work with companies in their journeys to making email marketing work for them. What we're going to do in today's session is we're going to go through what email marketing is all about and how you can use it. And that's the bottom line of everything we're going to do today. I'm going to give you some practical ways you can use email marketing to drive sales. I'm going to give you some tips. And of course, I'm going to answer your questions. So we have a pretty action-packed session today. Again, I want you to get out of it what you came to get. So please make sure if you have questions, let me know. I told you I've been doing email marketing since 2004, and me and my companies have had the good fortune to do it for a wide variety of firms. Many of you that are registered for today's call are familiar with me. You can find more of my background online. I want to give you good material today rather than spend a lot of time talking about who I am. When we talk about why email marketing, you know, it's not quite as sexy as some of the other marketing things we have in front of us, you know. I mean, now social media is the big rage and got to get those top Facebook rankings, and, you know, everybody's carrying around iPads and tablets and smartphones with them. And as marketers and as business people, you know, we're sitting there struggling and trying to figure out where should we spend our time and our money and, you know, what's going to bring us return. Well, email marketing is really a nice, solid thing for a whole lot of companies. It's proven to be really, really effective for lots of them, and I want to talk to you about that. As you see on the screen, the rate of return, the dollars that come back from a normal email marketing investment is just absolutely phenomenal. $40 on average for every dollar spent. That's return that, you know, again, we'd all love. You know, we'd all be scrambling to find dollars to invest if we knew a dollar of it would turn into 40. And that's members of the Direct Marketing Association, what they're running on email returns. And, you know, contrary to popular belief, even with all the spam that's going on, the average email open rates are up 14%. And we're doing some really neat things with customers where we're having open rates of 60 and 70% for their emails with very, very large lists. I'm going to share with you some of those tips as we go a little bit further. You know, and not only are people opening their email and reading it, but they're responding to the content that's within email. So as business people, if we're asking them to click onto our website to take a look at the seat covers that we have for sale, or click onto our website to take advantage of the oil change specials that we're running, people are more responsive. In fact, if you've been to a lot of my sessions before, you know I'm not here to overwhelm you in numbers, but the real reality is that your existing customers especially, they prefer email from you rather than any other type of marketing communication. So let's talk a little bit about how we can use email, because in working with businesses throughout the country since 2004, many of them don't or aren't aware of the email capabilities, and we put them into 6 categories. You see those 6 categories that are on the screen right now. I'm going to go through every one of them in a little bit more detail for you in just a second. And again, yes, I'm getting several questions. We will be making these slides available, and provided that we don't have any problems with technology or any glitches, all of this will be recorded. It'll be available to you free tomorrow. You'll get an email if you attended today. You'll get an email on how you can get it. So we're going to go through 6 types of emails. We're going to examine them in a little bit more detail and talk to you about how you can use them. And 2 of my favorites right off the bat that are not used very often. First is called transactional email. And this is an email, a type of email that's triggered by a specific action of one of your contacts. Now, we used as an example Amazon, because many of you may have bought something from Amazon before, right? And so if you buy something from Amazon, what do you get? You get an email confirming that your order was received. And then when it's shipped, you get an email that's telling you that it's shipped. These are called transactional emails, and they are really, really cool. And I'm going to talk to you. I've got a variety of you on the call from a variety of different industries today. And so why we're all here, we all have one thing in common, and that is we need customers. So for today, just for today, we all have that thing in common we call marketing. So we're all marketers today. And transactional emails are really cool. Let's say, for example, I sell a car. I sell cars for a living. I have car dealers on this call. And I sell cars for a living. Well, when a new customer buys a car, I can send a series of emails out to them that thanks them for their purchase, that gets them comfortable with the features that they have in their vehicle, that introduces them to my service department, that provides them reminders and incentives to refer people to my dealership, that gives them reminders and incentives to come in for service in my shop. These are all examples of transactional emails. In fact, during the course of today's session, I'm going to go through these with you. I'm going to show you some more examples of them. And you'll find the thing that's really cool is that you can create these emails, you can put them in email software, and it will do it for you automatically. It'll send them out automatically for you. So you kind of do it once, you lock and load it, and let the system take over from there. Now, transactional emails are really cool, and you can use them, you know, if you sell stuff online and they didn't complete their shopping cart order, you might send a reminder. I gave you an example. If you sell a new car, how you can continue to work with that new car owner to get their service business, to get their referral business, to make sure they become a loyal customer that buys from you time and time and time again. Let's say I'm a painting company and I go out and I paint 2 rooms for somebody's house and they have 10 other rooms that can be done. Well, email and transactional type emails, or maybe some other type that I'll explain in a minute, is a really neat way to stay in front of that person very cheaply, very inexpensively, and most importantly, very effectively to get additional business. Now, the second type of email is what's called a lead nurturing email, and these are really, really, really cool. A lot of us on our websites, we give customers one thing that they can do, and that is call us or buy from us. Well, a lot of people aren't ready to do that yet. Don't you guys ever get online and you're doing research? You're not ready to talk to a salesperson. You're not ready to come into a store. You're not ready to open your wallet and buy anything. What you're doing is you're gathering information. Now, again, I like to use a term called an ethical bribe. If you come to some of the websites and customers that we work with, when you come to their site, they're going to give you a chance to give them your name and your email. They're going to offer you information of value. It may be a case study. It may be a free report. Maybe a coupon that you can use for future service. Whatever the case may be, they're going to offer you something of value as a visitor, that's of value to you as a visitor, in exchange for your first name and email address. And then what they're going to do is send you a series of email messages that contain useful content. We're going to talk about that in a minute too, this thing called useful content. So you send a series of emails containing useful content, and it slowly moves that buyer to their desired action. Again, let's take a look. Somebody's looking to buy a car. Well, you know, for car dealers, I mean, the amount of time people are spending online before they even walk into a dealership or even contact the dealer is huge. So if I offer them information like comparison studies between models, maintenance schedules between models. Anything that I can do within that realm that offers them information, get their email, I can continue to send a series of email messages out. And you'll find this is a very, very effective tactic. And again, what's cool about it, we'll talk a little bit later in this discussion today, you can use email software and let it do the work for you. You can write the messages, you can load it into the software program, and it will automatically send them out in the sequence that they're loaded. And in fact, you see right there in this little example, we show 3 emails. Well, what if an email number 2, this customer, Bob, decides to buy? Well, then these systems are smart enough to stop the sequence so Bob doesn't get message number 3. Pretty cool, you know? Really neat stuff you can do. And it's easy. I don't care how large your organization is, or I don't care if you're a one-man shop. These are simple things you can do to set yourself up that'll really help you out over the long run. Like we said, the purpose of nurturing emails, they keep you in front of your prospects. They have very high click-through rates. You know, so when you send these nurturing emails and if you put a link into a web page, your click-through rates generally will be higher with these types of email messaging than others. Thanks for the questions. Getting a lot. We're going to get to them. And also these nurturing emails, they teach people. And that might be very important depending upon what you sell. Sometimes you teach buyers how to buy from you. And these nurturing emails can help you do that. You can give them offers that will match where they're at in your buying cycle. And sometimes people drop off the radar. They had been past customers and you want to reactivate them. And nurturing type emails might be good ways for you to do that. Thanks. I'm getting lots of questions about the email software. Thank you for that. I'm going to be talking about that in just a few minutes, so if you'll bear with me, you're half a mile ahead of me. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. Thanks again. Lots of questions about it. I wanted to answer that. Now, the third type of email that I'm covering is newsletters, and this might be something that a lot of you are familiar with. This is from a reproduction company in Canada, and I hope I did not lose my connection here. This is from a reproduction company in Canada, and this company in Canada is called NOS Reproductions. I apologize. I am seeing on my end that it appears that I have lost my connection with all of you. So I want to confirm that we are still connected, and yes, we are. I apologize for doing that, but I'd rather make sure that we're safe than sorry. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the kind of information that you need. So let's go back to our PowerPoint. Email newsletters are something that most of you are pretty familiar with, and this is from one of our customers that's in Canada. They are a classic car reproduction house, and they send out newsletters to both their existing customer base and their prospect base, talking about a variety of different things. And newsletters are really nice to allow you to showcase multiple types of content. It's a great outlet. It helps you make sales. That's number one. And not only that, but it keeps you in front of people. It positions you as authorities in your field. It positions you as thought leaders that you really know what you're doing. As I said, it gives you a variety of options to showcase content and to help your customers and prospects. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk a little bit more about a little bit later, but I'm going to touch upon right now is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And that is a lot of us that send out email newsletters, all we do is talk about our company and our products. And I want you to stop and think about that for a minute. Think about this person that you know that you haven't seen for 3 months, and all of a sudden they run up to you, and all they're asking you to do is to help them out. And you might be okay with that first time that happens, but then another 3 months goes by, and then all they do is run up and tell you how great they are and they need your help. That gets old after a while, and you start to avoid those people, and that's the problem that most companies have. Their newsletters are garbage. I'm going to pick on car dealers right now. You know, I looked at a newsletter that a car dealership was sending out to its fleet customers. It had 5 articles. 2 were recipes on how to literally make dishes. The other 2 were price item promotions on cars. And the third one was a preview of the Daytona 500 race. And the reality of it is this: no one wants to be advertised to, and we don't want to hear how great you are. All right? And that's really the reality of it. So if your email newsletter content is relevant to your audience has problems and issues. They have these little conversations inside their mind every single day. You know, the same kind of things that you think about when you're driving into work in the morning and that you're driving home at night, they have them too. So if your newsletters are relevant to those conversations, you're going to find that a lot more people open it. We showed you the newsletter from Nasri Productions, and last month they wanted to sell foam seats so that when people are reupholstering seats in their cars, they put in new seat foam as well. And rather than put together an ad about foam seats, what was done, an article was written talking about the 6 most common mistakes people make when redoing their car. And guess what? One of the 6 was not redoing the seat cushions. Kind of simple with a nice link to the website. That's an example of something that might help and help you fit into what you're doing. Now, an email digest is like a newsletter, but it's really, really, really effective for those of you that have a blog or for those of you that post regular content to your Facebook page. An email digest is like a newsletter, but it's just what it says. It's a digest. It's a condensed version. It highlights past popular content, and as you see there, what we simply would do with ours is promote our webinar, or we'll talk about some upcoming or past things that we put on our blog. It's nice, it's simple, it's easier to do. It drives readership to your blogs, and it drives website visits. So if your blogs are good at converting visitors into your desired business stuff, your desired business actions, and if your website's good at converting visitors into leads and sales, an email digest is a nice little thing to do. Your analytics will help you spotlight what you want to feature to your customers. So if you're publishing blog content, to find out what's the most popular blog content, simply look at your analytics. Those are some things that you want to feature in your digest. Your point is not to overwhelm them with things. You know, I know some of you that are on here are posting to your blog daily. Some of you are posting multiple times. You know, the point is not to share with them the entire inventory of everything you've created. It's to identify those 3 to 5 items that might be of most interest so they're going to be informed. Okay? Digests work really well in either weekly or monthly formats, and you can use a few graphics to make it a little bit more visual. Will be a nice help. Now, another type of emails you've all seen, you've all gotten, are standalone, and what they do is they generally promote a single event or a sale. And you see 2 here, one from Bloomingdale's on the left, the other from American Airlines on the right. American's promoting a special one-day only sale if you're flying from Chicago. Special offer you see there, it's expired Monday, November 26, 2012, one day only. Standalone email, absolutely beautiful purpose for those of you that are running single offers. I might be a repair shop that might be running an oil change special. I might be an alarm company that might be running some sort of monitoring or add-on service special. A standalone email is very, very good for this type of a promotion. They are the best ways to drive results for single offers. I got one thing to offer you. Standalone emails are really, really great to do. They're not expensive to produce if you're working with good companies. The graphics to put together or to design them are basically pretty simple. Obviously, ROI you can measure from email, and we'll talk about it. Now, if you're doing standalone email, make sure you have a strong call to action, that you tell people what you want them to do. All right? Don't assume. Don't send them out a coupon that says, hey, here's $10 off an oil change that you have to use by Friday. You know, go one step further and say, click here to get coupon. Tell them what you want them to do. All right? Make the benefits of the offer clear and set a deadline, and if you promote it as something that's exclusive to your email list, so much the better. You're going to get better results. And I want you to stop and think about that for a minute. If you're on my email list and you get an email that says, as an exclusive email list VIP customer of my company, you get, whether you want the offer or not, you feel a little bit better about it, don't you? You're getting a little extra benefit by being part of my community. And that's the thing that you want to convey to your audience. Sponsorship emails are one of the most underutilized marketing tools that I'm aware of. This is an example of a sponsorship email where this insurance company wrote content for a security company's newsletter. Now, is security company customers relevant to an insurance company? I would think so. In fact, it could be argued that people that have home security systems are probably a little bit more attuned to risk and loss and theft than maybe the general population. So on the surface, it kind of meets the smell test, doesn't it? A home insurance company having a feature in a security company's newsletter, you know, that kind of makes sense to all of us that are on the call. We see that. And so what's really cool about that is this. Let's look at it from both sides of the coin. The insurance company gets a chance to reach the customers of the security company without really having to advertise, without advertising for sure, without creating ads, and probably at a cost that's about 1/10 of what an ad would be, and probably at the effectiveness that's 10 times what an ad would be. Now let's look at the security company's perspective. Is this content relevant to their audience? Is it relevant to their audience on tips on how homeowners can cut insurance costs? Of course it is. And this security company, Hue and Cry in the example, they had content produced for their newsletter by someone else that didn't cost them a penny to have done. Pretty cool deal all the way around the board, isn't it? You know, everybody kind of wins with something like that. Sponsorship emails, your inclusion in somebody else's email, gives you a chance to explore new people and a way to find new leads and sales. Look to your business partners, look to vendors, look to organizations that are compatible with what you do, that serve the same audiences that you do without being directly in competition. You know, obviously, gang, the security company and the insurance agency sell to the same group. You see the connection. Sponsorship emails are absolutely fabulous ways to penetrate that. Now, I've gone through 6 ways to do some email, and some of you have been asking me about what email software programs will do a really good job with autoresponders. And what an autoresponder is, it's really simple. It's a program that sends email based on what's called a trigger event. Something happens and then a series of emails go out. It can be automated, and you can program them for behavior. They're very easy to work with. Now, not all companies have not all email software companies have autoresponder capability, and some that do has a very limited capacity. As an example, Constant Contact, many of you are familiar with. Many of you use Constant Contact as email software. We've been affiliated with them since 2005. In fact, I'm certified by them, but yet their autoresponder feature is not as robust as something offered by a company called Infusionsoft, or another one that I'm sorry is a little cut off on our graphic. It's called Aweber, all one word, A capital W-E-B-E-R. So Constant Contact has some limited capacity, and that might be great. You know, if I'm a small painting company, I might only need a real limited capacity. If I'm a car dealership or, you know, online e-commerce selling millions a year, I might need bigger capacity. Constant Contact, Infusionsoft, Aweber are really good resources to look at. But the concept of autoresponders, where you can have a trigger event and then have pre-programmed email messages to go out to your audience, is really, really cool. It's called autoresponders, and make sure you're aware of it. Let's talk about developing email content and give you some tips about that, because there's a lot of dialogue about it. And the one thing that I want you to keep in mind is what I told you earlier. No one wants to be advertised to. No one likes ads. No one wants to hear how great we are. What they want is information that will help them, so that if you provide your content, and again, gang, I gave you the story. NOS Reproductions wanted to sell seat foam, seat cushions, so that when you are refurbishing your car, you put new seat padding and foam in it. That's what they wanted to sell. Rather than put an ad out, what we did was create an article that was of interest to their audience. Their audience is restylers, car restoration people. And so we put out an article about the 6 most common mistakes people make when they restore a car, and one of them related to the product that they wanted to sell and how we tied it in. That's an example of developing content that's relevant to your audience, not an ad. Let's talk about some things relating to content. I'm seeing several questions about how important is email subject lines. We've always been told and always been taught. I remember when I went to school back in 2004, I was taught that the 2 most important things that determine if people are going to open your email or not, or pay any attention, is who the sender of the email is and what the subject line is. And both of those 2 things are still critically important. However, there's a third thing that's important as well, and I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. Let's give you some tips on email content and subject lines. If your subject line answers, "How are you going to help me?" you're in good shape. Keep it short, because many people are accessing their email on their mobile phones. In fact, I'm going to be willing to bet all of you are guilty of it. I can see you all smiling right now. It's all over your face. We read email on mobile. So keep your subject line short, 4 or 5 words, maybe 25, 30 characters, so it displays well. I'm going to give you another tip in a second, but hang on to these. Avoid caps or exclamation marks, because those are triggers that might trigger a spam filter to not let your email go through. And try to keep away from words like free or percentage off or call now or great offer. They can appear spammy to some IPs, and your email may not get through, or it may get blocked. All right? So keep the subject line. How are you going to help me? Keep it short, 4 or 5 words if you can, ideally, and that's because a lot of people are reading email on mobile. Avoid the caps and be aware of the words. Now, let me give you another tip that's really important. How many of you look at your email in preview mode? You know, I don't know about you guys, but I have one of those Samsung Galaxies, and when I take a look at my email, and I've got it shut off now so I don't want it ringing during the course of this webinar that we're doing today, but, you know, I take a look, and I look at my email, and I'm previewing that, and it tells me who it's from, and it gives me like 3 or 4 lines that I can preview it. And I know that when I'm at my laptop, I have a preview feature on my email, and I see a lot of you nodding. You guys do too. So let me give you something else that's really important, and that's that preview window. That preview window, in addition to the subject line, gives you about another 70 to 75 characters. Make it good. Put the good stuff there. Don't beat around the bush. Don't try to be clever. Don't try to be witty. Tell them why you sent them an email. If you do that, you got much, much, much better odds of getting yourself through. Now, a lot of studies have been done by Dan Zarella. He's a social scientist. And, I mean, I'm not going to go through the math or anything, the credibilities of the studies, other than it's just a resource that we like a lot. We like Dan's studies and data. 88% prefer HTML messages still. And those are messages that they can see images with. So keep that in mind. Make sure that your emails are formatted in ways that people can scan. We scan things online, and then once we scan them, we determine if we want to read them more. So make sure your email is formatted in a scan-friendly fashion. And headlines are really cool. We've been taught to look for headlines from the time we were kids. Okay, think about that. There are headlines on newspaper articles. There are headlines as chapter titles to books. We're a headline-oriented culture, so if you break your content within your email messaging up, headlines are really, really cool ways to help you do that. And let's not forget this tip over that 70 to 75 characters. People look at things in the preview screen. Make sure your good stuff is within those first initial sentences. Now, let me give you another tip that will help you out a lot with your content, and that's to plan it out. Man, oh man, oh man. You know, I know that all of us, including me, are guilty of it. You know, right now it's March 5th. No, I'm sorry, what is today? It is March 7th. March 7th. Can anybody believe we're in March already in 2013? March 7th right now. How many of you know what you're going to be promoting in April? Do you have any idea what you're going to be saying to your audience? How about in May? How about in June? Let me tell you something. The big boys, I guarantee you right now, Walmart knows what they're going to be promoting and selling to you in November. They have it already planned out. You're saying, well, it's only March. What if something happens between now and then? Well, it's really easy to change, isn't it? The scary thing is to wake up at the end of March and wonder, what am I going to do in April? And you can plan this out using what's called content calendars. And that's what we do. We use content calendars with our clients and with our company. And we simply kind of identify, what do we want to talk about via email? What's the topics? How often do we want it to go out? And it's not a cumbersome process. We have a lot of fun with it. We sit down, we kind of draft out what we want to do for a year, and we work with clients that want to do the same. And as I said, after the calendar's put together, right now, if something's happening in October that causes us to change direction, we have the flexibility to do that. What we want to avoid, what planning helps us avoid, is it helps us avoid the last-minute things. You all heard Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. He said, begin with the end in mind. And these little things that you see as an example here called content calendars, they work really, really well. I'm going to show you, this is email content calendars work really well for newsletters. I'll show you something in a minute, a tool that works really well for transactional messaging. But what we'll do with email calendars, we'll work with companies and we'll decide how often they want to mail and what their audience is, and we'll start to create topics, and we'll draft them out by year, and everything just kind of flows. It keeps you organized. And we'll talk to you about, tracking your results with a calendar in a minute as well. Now here's an example of a transactional message, and I think most of you can read it on the screen. I'm going to leave it up here. This was done for a document imaging company. And what they do is they sell scanners online. So you can buy a document scanner online and they'll ship it to you. And I know you're going to find this really, really hard to believe, but their statistics show that 1/3 of everybody that got their scanner 30 days later still hadn't taken it out of the box. And that's really kind of tough, because stop and think. If you're a document imaging company, I not only want to sell you a scanner, but I want to sell you software. I want to sell you scanner supplies. I may want to sell you document storage. I may want to sell you a document retrieval system. And none of that can happen until you start to use the first scanner you bought. So what you're going to see here in this particular document, this little planning tool, is it drafts things out. As you see, the very first message number is simply for internal reference. And the title of the message is an order acknowledgement. And it's something that went out as soon as you bought online, you got this message. And it told you the gist of the message was under the content section. Here, if you have any questions, here's where you direct them. And here's when your order is being shipped and how it's being shipped. There was no call to action in it. There was no offer, and it went out immediately. And then you'll see message number 2, your order is shipped. Here's how you can track it in the content level. And we start to give them a feel. Here's what to do with it when you get it received. Because we need to get you using it. We need you to use the scanner in order for you to be happy and continue to buy. And as you see, we walk people through the process via transactional messaging of them getting the scanner, to using the scanner, to becoming more effective with it, to where we start to move them into buying more. And it all comes from planning, from understanding who your customer is, and working out a little bit of a roadmap. Because then you can use software that's very cheap and very inexpensive. It starts at $20 a month. So you can start to use that software and let it take over and do all the heavy lifting for you. Let's talk a little bit about when to send email. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no perfect time. What you want to do is you want to look at your data. You want to look at your analytics. And I know that's an ugly word, man. That's like telling a high school kid it's time to do math. But I want to get this through to you, because to look at email analytics might take you all of 5 minutes. And if you put your data from every time you email on an Excel spreadsheet and look at it, You're going to be amazed at what you're going to learn. This is not something that's time cumbersome or a real burden at all, but here's some tips. On a cumulative whole, weekends are becoming a really decent time to send email because you have less competition there. Now, you may get less people that open it, but the people that do open it generally will spend more time with it and will be more reactive to it. We've been having a lot of luck with both B2B and B2C customers that are emailing on weekends. Tuesdays, seem to be, maybe not as good as some of the others. And we're having a lot of luck with emails early in the morning when people get up, get their cup of coffee or whatever it is in their routines, going to check their email, opening them, and reacting accordingly. Now, we'll keep you posted. We have lots of material coming on our blog in the next couple of months about email and studies and timing and all of that, so you can keep track of it. The bottom line point that I want you all to get that are on this call is look at your analytics. Your analytics are going to tell you a whole heck of a lot about how people are responding to what you're sending them, when they're opening them, and all of this kind of thing. And that leads me to another point. Test. I will never know what day is the best day for me to send my email unless I send it out on different days to see what works best, right? Here's what a lot of us do. A lot of us create our marketing. We put our ad together and we spend our money for our ad, or we put our website up, and then we hope and pray. We walk away from it. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Google's own statistics show that half of the people that spend money on pay-per-click advertising don't even look at their results in a 30-day period. Over half. Don't let that be happening to you. You need to test and you need to inspect, just like anything else in your business. And this isn't hard, and the rewards are huge. I mean, I assume most of you are doing what you do because you want to have a great lifestyle and you have a little fun at it. All right? So if you take 10, 15, 20 minutes to test your emails, to take a look at the data and the results, you're going to be absolutely amazing to find out. Because, look, you want a competitive edge right now. I want you to stop and think about this for a minute. If you want to win NASCAR, you like to race cars, you want to win, you win the lottery, you've got billions of dollars, so to start a race team, you are going to hire the best people money can buy, aren't you? And you're going to build the best car you can, and you're going to go put that car on the racetrack, and then what are you going to do from there? Because at the time that you built that car and the first time you put it on the track, what are the odds of you winning races? Experienced people will tell you that you need a stopwatch and you need to let that car run around the track based upon time and see how you measure against others. Experienced racers will tell you you need to try different tires and different settings and setups and all sorts of different things you need to test to get the car to go as fast as it can. Now you take a look at the stats in front of me. What this is telling you is that 3 out of 10 companies test their email marketing to find out what works best. That means 70% of your competitors are hoping and praying, and 3 of them are doing the right kinds of things to get better results. Are you one of those 3? Testing and measuring emails can be absolutely critical to get better results, and I really want to urge you to do so. A lot of companies just don't even go in and as we said, don't even look, but what you need to do is simply go in, take a look at your stats, because every email software program in America or worldwide that I'm familiar with, we've had people on this call from Argentina. Any of the software that you're going to find from any provider will have good data for you, good information that you can use to test your marketing. We're going to double check questions. We've been answering them as we've been going through. I also want to let you know we do regular webinars. We do them every month. In April, next month, we're going to be talking about how you can get top Google rankings for your local business. Smartphones have won the war. Everybody's are using smartphones to access things, all that kind of stuff. The Google local rankings, those are your new yellow pages. And what we're going to show you is how to be effective with Google rankings in next month's webinar. It's Thursday, April 4th, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 11 a.m. for my friends in the Pacific Time Zone. noon Mountain Time, 1 Central Time. I look forward to seeing all of you there. And I'm getting phenomenal amounts of questions about email marketing on mobile devices. And they all seem to center around one basic thing. Excuse me a minute. They all seem to center around one basic thing, and that is, how much should our emails be optimized for mobile devices? Because the mobile screen obviously is a lot different than the desktop or the laptop. And so the question is how much should we worry about optimizing our email for mobile devices? And here's my answer. It depends on what you sell, and it depends on what you're doing. Okay? Yes, it is a fact that mobile devices are going to outstrip desktops and conventional laptops as ways people access the internet. No doubt that's happening. Okay? But let's stop and think a little bit. Let's not let our logic outrun itself here. Depends on what you sell. You know, if I sell a small ticket item, now let's say I'm a fast food restaurant or I'm an oil change place, and somebody looks up for me, they get hungry, they look for me on their phone, I can offer them a little mobile coupon to bring in for $1 off their meal. That might work real well for me. Let's say I'm a manufacturer, and somebody comes to my website to research or to find my distributor network, get product specifications, download a product manual. That's probably not going to happen off of a mobile device, is it? You're probably not going to do that off your smartphone. So one of the things you want to look at when you're optimizing email and even your websites for mobile devices is, what kind of a business are you? Where's your traffic coming from, and what are they coming for your site to do? Okay? You know, a lot of times people might come on your website via a mobile device, they want more information, and then they're going to go home, they're going to look at it on your laptop or the desktop. Right now, what we're doing with people is this. If you're in doubt, what you want to optimize for is what's called a multi-screen approach. You want to do something that's comfortable for your mobile users as well as your desktop users. We're going to be writing about this a lot over the next 2 years. So again, I'm going to make another cheap pitch for our blog. Follow our blog, and you're going to find some tips that will help you as we evolve through this mobile era that we're moving heavily into. Right now, your analytics are going to tell you, for most of you, again, I don't want to overly generalize, but probably you're okay with your desktop and your laptop optimization for right now. Again, depends on what you sell, and then you can also optimize for a multi-screen experience. Everybody, thank you for taking the time to join me today. I'm Brian Offenberger. We help companies just like yours with their email marketing and their newsletters. Not only can we help you structure programs, but where we're really, really, really good is at creating the kind of content that brings people just like you to events just like this. If having events or having newsletters and regular communication with your customers is important and can help drive your bottom line, and you think you might need a little help, please feel free to contact me via any of the information vehicles that you see on the screen right now. And again, I want to invite all of you. Join me April 4th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm going to go through how you can get top Google search engine rankings in your local markets. And last but not least, you'll get an email tomorrow. We'll show you how you can access today's webinar, this session that you've participated in. You can get it free. You can have it for your future reference. I'm Brian. Thanks for joining me. Now go out and sell something and have a great day. Take care, everyone.